So I've read three marketing books in the month of December, about 18 hours worth of audio and reading. And I'm going to be reviewing all three books that I read here in December 2024, starting with number one, Lean Marketing by Allan Dib. And then we'll be reviewing the one-page marketing system by Allan Dib, and also $100 million leads by Alex Hormozi. Three excellent books. And let's go ahead and get started with Lean Marketing. So to start, I love the book. I've actually got a lot of highlights and notes in here. I read the audio version, and then normally what I do when I'm running, I read the audio, and then once I'm done running, I come back and I highlight all the areas that stood out to me, and I read it back again. I study it, and then I go over it with my team, my staff, so that we can begin to put it into action right away. Love the book. Who's this for? Let's start there. I think that this is more of I would say if I had three tiers, like tier one being like a brand new entrepreneur, tier two being like a middle experienced entrepreneur, somebody who's been in the business for at least 2-3 years, like you've been in for 3 years, and then like your entrepreneurs who are like 5+ years in. I would say this is more for a middle tier entrepreneur who's trying to like make it past like that 5-year mark. I'm not saying from a revenue standpoint, just purely from experience. A lot of the things you're going to read in a book, you might have already experienced it and you failed at it. So now when you read the book, you're going to realize why you failed at it, and then it's going to put all the dots together. That's what I think this is. I think it's a great middle ground for the new entrepreneurs and like the more experienced ones. It's going to put it together for you to get up there. Now, that's not to say that new entrepreneurs shouldn't read this book, because I actually believe that if I were in my first year as an entrepreneur and I picked up this book, although some of the things may not have connected for me, I think it would have allowed me to restructure my business in the right way. For example, Allan challenges your thought process around what type of business you should start and market. As an example, in the very beginning of the book, he discusses why it's so important that the thing that you're selling is actually in demand. Like, as entrepreneurs, and I've done this too, that we start businesses that people aren't looking for, which makes it more challenging for you to be able to market. For example, let's say you started a clothing line, and I'm not picking on anybody that starts clothing lines, because there's plenty of clothing lines that are successful. But you start a clothing line that no one's looking for, and there is no utility to your clothing. When I say utility, what I mean by that is, what's the benefit to somebody wearing your clothes? If it's not like for luxury and status, which I'll talk about in this video, because Allan talks about this in Lean Marketing on why people purchase things, because there's only 7 reasons why people purchase anything. But like, if your clothing line doesn't have a clear utility associated to people buying it, it's going to be a tougher uphill battle for you to be able to sell it, because now like it's a commodity. Like, people have to like decide in their mind of why they're buying it, and if you don't have a fan that's actually buying it, then it's going to be hard to scale. So choosing it. So as an example, like if I were a brand new entrepreneur based off of what I read here in Lean Marketing, then I would probably be like, okay, cool, what's in demand right now? Artificial intelligence. So for me, and again, it's just an idea, I'm not going to do it because I'm like super cool with where I am and what I specialize in today. But I would go into artificial intelligence, not building an AI like ChatGPT. I would actually build like a bridge, for example, where I would say, hey, I'm going to learn as much as I can about ChatGPT in the AI space, and I may create like courses, or even like I had this idea for this one of my clients that I was talking to, because he was like, Don, I'm 24 years old. I'm currently running a business, but like, I don't really necessarily want to be in this business anymore. What'd you go into? And I said, well, dude, like, learn everything you need to know about AI. And how about this? What if you like started using AI in your businesses first? And then from there, you learn how to be more productive, you and your staff. And then you start selling that service to other businesses. Like, hey, my name is Don, and I've been using artificial intelligence for the past 3 years. And from that, I've seen 20% more productivity. I've seen 10% more profitability, and et cetera, et cetera. And with that, I want to show you as a business owner how to implement artificial intelligence into your business like how I did it, right? and I'm using me like I did it, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And now you're able to target business owners who are looking to put artificial intelligence into their business. So you're not actually selling anything to anyone anymore. People are already looking to add artificial intelligence into their business, and because of that, now you're going to be able to benefit from that. That's what I mean by choosing the right business in the beginning. Go into something that people are already looking for, and it's going to make your job easier when you're intercepting the traffic that's already happening, right? And that's what all great businesses do. They intercept traffic that's already happening. Like Allan Dib in lean marketing, before I go further into the book, one of the things he also talks about too is that like it's better to market something that people are already looking for than to try to plant a seed in somebody's head and create a market. As small business owners, here's the thing. We don't have nearly enough money to create a market. Now, what do I mean by that? He gave an example, I believe it was lean marketing, where he gave the example that like Colgate, they spent millions of dollars in years planting this idea in people's minds that they needed to have fresh breath and to brush their teeth. Like brushing teeth wasn't even a thing. It got marketed to people so much that now everybody here in 2024 brushes their teeth. That took millions of dollars and years to plant that seed in one's mind. If your idea requires you to have to plant a seed into someone's mind, you're already going to be behind, and you may not even have the money to do this for a long period of time. And it takes a lot to make a market. It takes a lot to make a market. Remember that. Don't try to make markets. You're not in business to try to make markets. You're in business to make profit. So with that, find the easiest path. And I wish that was something I knew in the beginning years of my entrepreneurship, where I was just trying to like make market and do things that was cool. No, my goal is to find the easiest path to profit. Whatever that path is, I get into it, I get really good at it, and I can market it. People are looking for it. I deliver a great service. I win. That's what you want to do. So if you're a new entrepreneur, I do still believe that reading this will be the right fit, because I think it's going to challenge your thought process around what kind of business you want to start. With that being said, I want to go into a few different things that I learned here in the book, and that really pulled out for me. And the first one was being an inch wide and a mile deep, right? That was an interesting concept for me. And again, I've heard many entrepreneurs talk about this, but when I hear it again, it always reminds me to stay focused, because when you go into business, one of the first things you're going to think about doing is, I want to market my business to everyone. I did this too. For example, with my tax and accounting company, Jumpin' Jack Tax, like I was like, oh, I want to be able to do taxes for everyone. That didn't work. And I tried it for like 3 years. By the way, doing taxes for everybody doesn't work. It's number one, it's not efficient. Number two, I'm getting crushed by QuickBooks and TurboTax, because they got way more money to be able to market to billions, like millions and millions of people on NFL, NBA, like everywhere. So like, marketing to everybody about taxes doesn't work. And I decided that I needed to be an inch wide and a mile deep. I needed to find a very specific target market inside of taxes and accounting, solving a very specific problem. That's the idea. So now, you know, I focus in on clients who specialize in who have troubles with back taxes and unfiled tax returns. That's different than people who are currently like, you know, oh, just file tax returns. No, I'm only focusing on people who have back taxes and unfiled tax returns. That's better for me. I can specialize in that. My team is more efficient doing that. My marketing efforts are better doing that. My average cost per lead is lower doing that. So inch wide and a mile deep means take the target market that you're currently in right now, think about it, and most times when you think about your target market and you're saying this is niche, this is narrow enough, it's niche enough, it's probably not. Like, go lower, go smaller, smaller, and smaller. Focus on a group of 1 million people, 2 million, 3 million people that are dealing with a very specific problem within that industry that you're in, and focus on becoming the best at that particular problem, marketing to those group of people, and watch how much faster you'll grow, and without having to spend a ton of cash to be able to do it. You know, it's better to be the biggest fish in a pond than to be a small fish in an ocean, right? So you're not going to win in the ocean. There's multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar companies going to beat you, right? So be an inch wide and a mile deep. So I learned that there, and it was just a great reminder for me to just stay where I'm at, narrowing down, and that works. So I think you should take that into consideration. This next one here that I think was interesting, and it reminded me as well, is that the only thing humans buy or sell. This was interesting as well because I've heard this before too, but again, reminders matter. And there's 7 things that people, 7 things that like every human being, is what Allan Dib is saying, that they actually buy or sell. Number 1 is money and wealth. People buy money and wealth. Number 2, people buy time and convenience. Number 3, people buy sex and mating. Number 4, people buy status, fame, and approval. Number 5, people buy safety, peace of mind, and basic needs. Number 6, people buy leisure, entertainment, and play. And number 7, people buy freedom. If you sell any of those 7 things, then you have a great chance, assuming that you went into a product or service that's currently in demand that people are looking for. If you tie the offer that you're selling to one of those 7 things, then the odds are you're going to get more conversion, more sales, based off of what Allan Dib is saying, right? So people aren't buying your product or service. They're buying the benefit to one of those 7 things that I just talked about. That's what they're buying. So if you can tie your product or service to one of those 7 things, it works. So as an example, I've been in the insurance space for a while. So like I don't sell insurance, right? I don't sell insurance. I sell peace of mind. And I don't just talk about term, whole, IUL. I don't do any of those things. I sell peace of mind to people, right? And that's the thing that creates more conversions there. So think about one of those 7 things that your product or service offers, and make sure that you're driving that home, because that's going to be the thing that people actually buy. So I found that to be interesting as well in the book. And then a few more things, because I don't want to give away the whole thing, because I want you guys to really buy the book, Lean Marketing. I like buy the book and buy the audio, because it's going to really help you. But I want to share a few more things, because this was an excellent book by Allan Dib. This one was probably my favorite part of them, which was building a flagship asset. Your flagship asset. That blew my mind away. I haven't heard this from anyone other than Allan Dib thus far. And so I don't mess up the concept, I'm just going to read like the beginning part of it. He says that a lot of marketing is focused on making promises about how great life will be for your prospect after they purchase your product or service. That is fine, but the problem is everyone is out there making the same claims, so it's hard to stand out from the crowd. Worse, your prospects have been burned by broken promises many times and they don't believe you. Your flagship asset helps you overcome this by showing rather than telling. Instead of promising to be helpful once they become a customer, your flagship asset actually helps your target market get a result in advance of them buying from you. It creates a lot of value for them, and if you do it well, you'll be famous for that thing within your target market. So I'll give you guys a great example of somebody who pulled off a flagship asset extremely well. Alex Hormozy, which we'll talk about his books in one of these next parts of reviewing marketing books. Alex Hormozy, his website, acquisition.com. So I don't know if you saw, but it might have been in 2023, early 2024. I can't remember. But he ended up pulling off this massive marketing plan where he was hosting a Zoom call. And in that Zoom call, he said that he was going to give away the secrets to people, to businesses generating leads for a lifetime. He said, hey, businesses, if you're a business owner, you need to be on this Zoom call. I'm going to show you how to get leads for a lifetime. I'm going to show you how to get leads for free. I'm going to show you how to get leads through paid, like everything. I'm going to put on the best presentation that you ever seen. I joined that Zoom call. Like, I think, if Alex, if you're seeing this, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't remember the numbers. I think it was probably definitely over 10,000 people or something like that. It was crazy. Like, the Zoom call was huge. And he had the Zoom call. He did the whole thing free. He broke down so many strategies on how people could get leads. And after he broke down all of the strategies on how people could get leads, that's when he released his book, $100 Million Leads, to the public right there on his Zoom call, and he had it for sale, and I ended up buying the hard copy. And then in the book, it had a full-blown breakdown on how to do everything. But the best part of this was not the Zoom call, which was phenomenal, by the way, because he clearly showed everybody through the Zoom call. So many people that showed up, he showed everybody that he knew what he was talking about, because clearly if there were over 10,000 people on the Zoom call, obviously he's good at getting leads. He showed everybody that he knew how it worked from the Zoom call. Then he released a book breaking it all down. The best part was, on his website, acquisition.com, he has literally every training video and resource that you can think of, from sales scripts, DMs, emails, cold audiences, warm audiences, referrals. Everything you could think of is all on his website for free. That's a flagship asset. That is you giving away your best stuff for free while everybody else is charging for it. You give it all away for free, because when you can get a result for somebody in the beginning without them having to pay any money, they'd be willing to pay any amount of money because they're thinking about, well, if I got this for free and it was that amazing and it transformed my life, I can only imagine how much it's going to cost if I pay. You know, I can only imagine like the result I'm going to get if I pay. That's what Allan Dib is talking about when it comes to a flagship asset. Create something that you could create one time. Create it one time, and from creating it one time, it generates a ton of leads for you, because people are coming into this funnel for free. They're getting all of the value around the thing that you offer. You become a thought leader, because now everybody's watching you. They're watching all of your stuff. They're convinced now that you have the answer, because they've watched everything for free. So now when they hop on a call, like they book a call with you, they go, hey, I watched all of your stuff, man. I watched hours of your content. I've even used it. It started to work. Hey, man, how do I work with you one-on-one? Or how do I use your service? The sale is already made from your flagship asset. And the flagship asset is a way for you to just get many more leads, because you're offering a free magnet. Right, a free magnet, and everybody loves free stuff. So that was the example of the flagship asset, and I started using that in my businesses immediately, and I'm already seeing the results from it. Like, I started, as soon as I was done reading this, I put a flagship asset, and just so you all know, I generated over 500 leads like in the first 30 days of launching my flagship asset, and I'm already nurturing all of these leads to turn them into customers. So I know that it works. I put it into action right away. So like building a flagship experience was dope. And I think the last thing that I'll share here about lean marketing, he talked about intellectual property. Now, this is why I said that this is a bit more for your experienced entrepreneurs, because one of the things that before I end this video off, one of the things I struggled with was like building a business that is sellable, right? Like, I've been an entrepreneur like for the last 9 years now. And I've had my ups, I've had my downs. A big part of it was that a lot of the business that I was marketing was through my personal brand. So like, I built a great personal brand on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and I was able to generate all of my leads from those platforms. So I had no cost to acquire a customer other than my time, right? And other than my time, and then I end up hiring a content team. So my cost to acquire a customer was literally nothing. The challenge to that was, if I don't post on social media and give value and do this every single day, then I'm not getting any leads. And that also means that my business is invaluable, because if like the goal of a business, of course, is to sell it to somebody, and you walk away with a major payday. I mean, I think that's like the top of the mountain for every successful, like, to be considered like a top successful entrepreneur, I guess in my opinion, is you got to sell your business, right? Or IPO or something like that. Like that's top of the mountain. I've never been able to get there. And he taught me why. That like in the beginning of starting a business, your goal is to build intellectual property in your business, assets within the business that the person who be willing to buy this it becomes valuable for them, right? Like you want to be able to package the business so well that like when somebody buys it, you have marketing assets that are in there that allows the business to still generate customers with or without you. Like my businesses are so tied to my personal brand that if I step away, it's not valuable. That means that it's not valuable to an investor. And I would have to be working this business for the next 50 years. And I don't think anybody started a business to work it for the next 50 years, or at least not me, in my opinion. And a lot of the successful guys that I know, like Allan Dib, Alex Hormozy, these two books that I've read, they've never built their businesses that way either. They were building them to sell. It taught me to start building intellectual properties into the business. Things that are actually valuable in the business that work without me. They still allow the business to generate revenue without me. It still allows the business to market without me. It still allows the business to get new leads without me. It still allows the business to get sales without me, to get referrals without me, to go without me. And that is what you can package and sell to somebody that be willing to buy your business, right? How do I make it to where they can put their money into it and it starts to get them an ROI without them having to do a lot of effort? That's the goal. And it's a profitable business at that. So that's like where I am in my journey right now. Like, got a good business, generating revenue, and now it's like, how do I build it to be like so valuable to somebody that they'd be willing to pay 3x, 5x, 10x multiples to buy that business, because it already has the intellectual properties within. With that said, I prayed this was valuable. This is Lean Marketing by Allan Dib. So, by the way, I should have said this in the beginning. I forgot. This is not a sponsored post. I don't know Allan Dib. I've never spoken to him. Ideally, I mean, I pray one day he sees this video and he reaches out and says, hey, that review you did was so amazing that I would love to be able to like do an interview with you, and maybe I can get him here on the YouTube channel and get an interview with him and be able to pick his brain about everything that he's read, because I read both of his books, One Page Marketing and Lean Marketing, which I'll be talking about the One Page Marketing in a later video too, because I think you should read both. I think the One Page Marketing Plan is definitely for your newer entrepreneur. This one, and I think is for, like I said, your stage 2. Although if you're new, you think you should read it too. But this is my review, Lean Marketing. I think you should buy it, get it off Amazon, and also get the audio book as well, because I found that when you're listening to the audio book and you're reading at the same time, I learned this from Alex Hormozy, so I started doing it. When you're listening to the audio book and you're reading at the same time, you learn much faster. And I read this entire book in like 6 days. But I also run a lot too, so if you're somebody that does a lot of physical activity, for example, you go to the gym, you ride your bike, you run, just pop your headphones in, play the audio book. And because I run an hour a day, the audio book was 6 hours, so I was able to get done the entire audio book in 6 days. Once I got back, I downloaded the information in the book, did all the highlights, and I was able to get the book done, apply it straight into the business right away, and we started to see massive results. So it's not just about reading, and I always end the video like this, it's not just about reading. I don't just read, I also apply very quickly, and because of that application, it's allowing the business to grow very fast right now, because of it. So that's Lean Marketing. Next video, we'll be talking about $100 million leads in part 2 of reviewing marketing books, and then we'll head over to One Page Marketing System. And I'm currently on my fourth marketing book here in December right now. Taking me a little longer to finish it, but this one is pretty awesome too, so we'll be heading into that. But you guys are going to get a lot of value from these marketing books and my thoughts around it, etc. So with that said, my name is Don. See you next video. Peace.